All right. Hey, everybody. This is Jared Napolitano, the current advocate for organizational advancement for the SWCCG Players Committee. Um, Most of the time I go by JNAP. I'm going to be rolling out a hopefully quick video explaining the 2025 PC donations program that has had quite a runway. Usually we do these, like November, December, 3, 6 months out. So the last one we did actually started in 2023. It went through March of 2024. So we're coming up on about 18 months. So it's still, we had the 2024 program that ended in the early part of 2024. This is going to be the 2025 program that's going to end in the latter part. And I think next year we'll probably normalize, maybe something towards the middle of the year. But yeah, so thanks for watching this. I'm going to explain the program, and obviously all this is going to be posted, but just wanted to accompany this rollout with a bit of an explainer because there's probably going to be some FAQs that pop up, but so that'll be easier to talk through. All right, so I have myself pretty big here on the screen. I'll make myself smaller, and everyone can see here the deck boxes. So we'll go through here. A lot of this, if you donated in prior years, won't be new. As you can see, we have some pretty new and cool incentives, um, and we'll talk through them. So right off the bat, so here I haven't yet to post this, but this is going to be posted in the announcements forum on the PC Forums website. Of course, video will go up to YouTube, and we'll include the links in the notes to go there. This is not yet open, I would say. I'm recording this on Monday, September 8th, and the video will be posted hopefully within 30 minutes of me concluding this recording. But um, the reason I'm saying that it's opening on the 15th is that there are certain items that are going to be first come, first serve, and the order that you donate in is going to dictate whether you get a higher choice or not. But I have said on multiple occasions leading up to this, if you donated in April to the PC, those amounts count even before we had a formal program. And that's where in here, right at the towards the top here, all donations to the PC from January 1st, 2025 through November 30th, 2025 will be considered. So if you already, for one reason or another, donated $200, you are a tier 2 donor. Congratulations and thank you for donating proactively. But the questionnaire, don't fill that out until September 15th. We'll say, hopefully, I don't think, I would hope that there's no incentives that should run out across time zones or whatever, but we'll say, roughly 10 a.m. If there becomes a certain real conflict, we can work something out. With this program, I don't ever want to feel it. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're getting the short end of the stick, and we're all in this together to just support the PC and the different initiatives. So I always want to be fair about things, and if it's if it ends up becoming a deal breaker or something significant, we'll talk through it. So that's the spiel about time frame, whether it's open or not, when it opens, yada yada. Two steps here. So you basically click on this link in number one, and it'll bring you here. You enter the amount, you click donate with PayPal. There's another option, do credit card. If you want to do a monthly, make it like an installment plan option. Just make sure you turn it off, but you could check that box, turn it off once you get to the desired amount you want to do for the year. And you can extend that into 2026. But just, in those situations, and I even say this in the FAQs, just reach out to me, let me know what your plan is. Because, if you want to spread it out over 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, but the program's going to sort of end on the 30th, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but I don't want you to, not get what your plan was. And then secondly, fill out this Google Forms document, but don't fill this out until September 15th. We'll say when you wake up in the morning, whatever time zone you're in. Again, I'm not going to let time zones be the difference maker. But those of you should be familiar with this. We've used this mechanism, this Google Forms in prior years. Basically, it's the information we need. If we're going to send you stuff, we need your address, your name. If you're international, we're going to need a phone number. And then there's certain things where you have to make a selection and provide some input. So that's what this tries to get all in one place. This all exports into an Excel document, and we utilize that when I'm tracking and performing all the functions related to the program. So a couple pictures in here. The anything to highlight here? This should all be like certain ones are required. If they're required, that's pretty much for every level. There's some free option here at the end. If you do have so many particular questions or feedback, you can put it at the bottom here. We still have that item about at least for U.S. income tax purposes, if you deduct we can send you a nice form that helps you get that process or provide you with the necessary documentation for it. There's this whole section if you want to decline items. I don't think a lot of people use this, but some people do, especially people that might just be collectors. They don't want, the AI slips, or they don't want the printouts of recently released sets and alternate images that recently went globally available, those types of things. So the rest of this pretty self-explanatory. I had a few notes here that I wanted to make sure I talked about. Um, and let's see. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. All right, so we talked about the 15th. Um, the and then we'll get into, I think, so I'll go back here. We talked about this. Make sure you don't sell any of these items. If you're caught selling any of these items, you will not get any in the future. For the PC, that's never been allowed to resell any of this PC branded merchandise. If it has PC branded on it, there's a couple items on here like the uncut sheets. If you want to do something with them, um, that's not something we can really control all the way out. But if you are selling plain merchandise, that would be a huge problem. Or not plain, but branded is what I meant to say. All right, so here's a summary by tier. So we'll go into these, and then obviously there's going to be a lot of overlap into these items. So if you donate $100, you get your choice of a Luke or Sabine deck box. You can see that in the picture above. I also gonna show these in just a moment, a little more perspective. But you get to pick the orange Luke, which is the Luke Skywalker VAI, or the Sabine Wren image, which are both really sweet. Had them kind of my eye on those for a long time to have them be the options for this year. You also would get the Anger for Aggression V and Knowledge and Defense V alternate image slips. These are the donor foils for their donor AIs for 2025. They're exclusive to the program, and I could show you them here. This is the Anger, Fear, Aggression one with Anakin looking down. Pretty sweet. And then we also have the Knowledge and Defense one here with Anakin, or I guess it's Vader with his mask blown off, showing Anakin. That's what I meant to say. So those are those slips. Like years past, the gray scomp image poker chip will be included for tier 1 and every other level. I have about 20 of these green PC cups available. If you're tier 1 and you're one of the first 20 to donate, little early incentive, you get one of these as well. And then we also have these dice, which you could see every donor will get 7 of these. So you can do a couple different things with them. They're the gray and blue. The PC logo is the 1, represents the 1. And then we have these black rubber straps. These are good for securing your deck box. So if you're putting it in your backpack or you're carrying it anywhere, and make sure that the lid doesn't come off. Even though it is pretty, as you can see, it's pretty secure. But just to be sure, especially if you're putting like anthology boxes, like vertically in a backpack, something like that, these come in handy. So everyone will get 3 of these, and they have the PC logo on them. We got these last year too, and I think everyone got at least 1, if not 2. So that's the tier 1. So then I'll just talk about, so the green cups fall off for tier 2. But what you do is you'll get the Anakin's lightsaber. All right, so I guess I should talk about all the boxes here now. So I'll make my image bigger on this screen. All right, so you can see me here. All right, so this is Sabine. Pretty sweet. Sabine Wren. It's got the logos and the photo credit here. It comes down halfway, so it's easier to take it off. Doesn't fully cover it. White inside. People really like these deck boxes, Series 1, Series 2. These are going to be called the Series 3 ones with Sabine and Luke. We figure people only need so many deck boxes. A lot of people collect these. They already have the first 12. So here's 2 more. So that's Sabine. Here's Luke. Great image. Again, it's got photo credit, PC logo. And same deal, white inside. It fits 2 open, I'll call them open. You can double sleeve your 2 decks, get all your shields in here. And then you can even have some room for other stuff like poker chips or markers or whatever else. But that's the Luke. And then, all right, so then if you do 175, you get this awesome thing. So last year we did the Darksaber box. This year we're doing Anakin's lightsaber. This is artwork done by Tom Brayton. People will know him as Greebone. The image is fantastic. And if you look really closely, the way the smoke is it's kind of hard to see here, but the blue, you'll see like a hidden image. It's really cool. And this is like a glossy finish, which is really cool, really reflection. So you can see, I don't know if the lighting here is ideal, but Great stuff. Again, it comes down not all the way, so it's easy to take on and off. There's a fold inside about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, but you could fit, same amount of cards, any anthology box, same as the Dark Saber, and obviously same as all of um, the Cipher ones. These are 14 inches long, and then obviously, what I think 3.5 by, definitely fits all your cards on the side. Um, but yeah, these came out really nicely. So everyone who does 175 or higher gets those. And then you also get high quality printouts. We've done those in the past. We'll probably do the most recent 2 or 3 sets plus some, um, probably not any errata cards, but maybe we'll say basically it's going to be around 10 to 12 V kit pages, I'll say. So I think it'll probably be, I think last time we did set 22, so 23, 24, 25, plus some miscellaneous items here and there, plus um, really AIs that recently were released to be global. Those always come out in December. Um, and then $50 event voucher. That's a staple for this tier, and people use, especially players will use it. Those are not transferable. In the past, people have asked to move them around. It just creates like a logistical pain. And those are meant to be for people to encourage them to play and to thank them for participating in the program and encouraging them to come out for, like a retro event, an online event, an in-person open major, whatever. So we hope to see more and more people playing. All right, so tier three. So what happens if you do three, then you get the other box that you didn't get. You can't get two Lukes or two Sabines. You'll get the opposite one. I guess this is a good opportunity for me to mention I have ordered 150 of each of them. In years past, we've gotten somewhere between recent years between like 110 and 140 donors. So I'm hoping that 150 is enough. Because in theory, if everyone donated tier three and above, we would have enough for 150 to get both their boxes. I only have 125 of the anthology because presumably we should need a little less of these because not everyone will do tier two. Um, but I'll give those the caveat. I'm not really sure exactly what to expect. I'm hoping that we get around the same as prior years, in which case we have plenty on hand. But if we get like a amazing response, we can order more of those. It might be a little tricky with the quantity and cost wise, but we can make it work if that would be a good problem to have, and we'll figure something out. Um, the other item that people will get is the playmat. We got lots of good feedback about the playmats in prior years, so let me pull that over here to show the image. I have it kind of watermarked just so people don't try to take it. But oh wait, here we go. So this image is beautiful. Our great graphics department. And you can see here's the Jedi Temple. Obviously, these watermarks won't be here. It'll be a 28 by 14 playmat, similar to what we did last year with the really sweet Hoth one. It won't have the this placemats. We got mixed reviews on whether to do those or not. Not the placemats, the deck outlines and whatnot. A little text down here about what this is for, and obviously the image credit. Um, so that's a beautiful image, and that is going to be the playmats. And then going to tier three, you get we'll call them the ultra rare poker chips that have like the Death Star icon, um, and those are included. Moving down a little bit. Tier four, so top tier, 400 plus. Last year was 500, included some different things. This year, there's three big things that step up. One, probably the most valuable one, is folks will get a reflections foil uncut sheet. So that's the decipher sheet. There's four options for those. There's two different ones for light, and there's two different ones for dark. If you already have one or two of these and you really don't want the same one, email me, marketing@StarWarsCCG.org. We'll work with you. We don't want to send you the same one. Otherwise, they'll be randomly assigned. We also have some leftover these hats, which I've gotten good feedback on. They're fitted, they're flex fit. To be honest, they're almost like a little like purpley, but they're really supposed to be gray. I know some folks who got these last year really liked them. They're new era 3930s. So there's 10 of these. So these are one of those items that, unless like there's a ton of tier four donors and they're all like, hey, I really want the hat, we probably won't order more of these. And we only have certain sizes. So that's what's in this post that I'm gonna put on the forum soon. But again, always open to your feedback, and it's not the hardest thing in the world to order more if people really want them. But the initial plan is kind of keep these as a while supplies last. And then third, we have these used to be more broadly available, but they are a huge logistical lift, so we wanted to make them a little more exclusive. The custom 9 card, we'll call them whiteboard or foil sheets. So um, I used my sample one from a couple years ago. You should be able to see this here where I did a couple of Rebels themed and then I did a Rogue One theme. So these are when I say white border, they're kind of like the natural border, and that's to distinguish them from a lot of like events which use like black border. You could do a theme. Um, I some people cut them up. I think they're pretty cool to leave together, and some people might use, hey, maybe you want a tournament, want an event, and you use a certain deck, and you want to kind of commemorate that. So you can pick 9 cards from the deck that you really liked, or 9 of your favorite cards, and kind of keep it intact and keep it on the wall. And one of the reasons I say that is, as we know, like sometimes virtual cards get errata. So we can't really make any promises on and when and if and how, but that is a really neat thing about these. They're like a great like keepsake. You can commemorate it. You can hang it on the wall. Like again, you can have a theme to it. But some people really just want more foil slips, and they're willing to kind of slice and dice these and get them onto cards. Um, so again, putting it in the higher tier, there's probably going to be less, and it should be more manageable. It's just there's a handful of steps, and those are in the questionnaire. But when we had them as like an early donor incentive, we had them as like an ER match incentive, and there ended up being like 100 some, and it was a real big lift to get them all formatted exactly, get the right ones, make sure there's certain ones that we don't aren't allowed to, like don't pick ones that have decipher images. We want to use full virtual card art slips. Um, and I'm even though I spelled that out, I'm sure there's gonna be a few, there's gonna be some back and forth. So that's where it's gonna be manageable or more understandable to do that when we have 20, 30, 40 possible top donors rather than 100 some. So those are all the tiers. Let me make sure here. Let's see, exclusive donor program, the AFA, and the knowledge and defense. We showed the deck boxes. Yeah, so we have 150 Luke's, 150 Sabine's, 125 of the Anakin's lightsaber anthology box, 140 dice sets. So if we have, 180 donors, we'll order some more dice. If we have like 145, that might be a situation where maybe try to offer you something different, or we try to be upfront with you and say like, hey, we can give you a discount. Um, off your because you're going to get that, or maybe some people will opt out of them because that's an option here. Some people might not want a dice, not want seven dice. So that's where there could be some mitigating factors. That's where it's kind of some of these incentives we do order ahead of time, make sure we have them stocked. That's one of the reasons there was a delay in announcing the program. I partially was a delay on me, obviously, but the in getting the program together just had some competing priorities. But I wanted to have them in hand to show them off. I didn't want to risk any chance that something fell through, but I wanted to have these deck boxes in hand to show everyone. Um, but whereas the playmats, we have not ordered those yet. So those are going to be, we're going to wait till we see how many tier 3 and up donors there are, and then order those playmats accordingly and have them, kind of fit, what do you call that? Made to order. Made to order? I think that's right. And yeah, that's the process there. But anything else that I didn't talk about, we have enough. I'm not concerned about like the alternate image slips, the decipher reflections on cut sheets. I'm not worried about. Um, the event vouchers, obviously, we won't run out of those. The poker chips were good. The rubber straps were good. All those items are not an inventory concern. All right, so timing we talked about pretty much. So once the program ends November 30th, maybe earlier, depending. I don't want. I always want it with this program in terms of timing. I always want to under promise, over deliver. But worst, the goal is to get everything shipped, buttoned up, closed out by March 31st, and then probably by next summer we'll roll out the 2026 program and do different stuff. But that's the plan there. We'll start getting some stuff out the door in December, I think. Especially like the tier 1 donors that we talked about. Like we have the boxes on hand. We'll have the slips. We have the poker chips. We have the dice. We have the cups. We have the straps. So those almost we again, I don't want to promise this, but these are conceivably possible to start getting these out on a rolling basis. Um, we could definitely start getting a good chunk of these out in November. The only thing is, well, I shouldn't say a thing because it's pretty rare, but somebody might donate 100 in October and they might be like, oh, you know what? I want to move up a level in December or not December, in November. So then they bump up a tier, they need some more things. Then it might be like a situation where there's 2 rounds of shipments, which is kind of some extra cost. Not the big deal in the grand scheme of things. And like I said, it's kind of rare that people do bump up. There's only a couple each year, but that would be the one case where there'd be a case to wait. But I think, and again, tier 2s, we could probably get a lot of these out as well because we have the boxes, we have the slips, we have the poker chips, we have the dice, the straps, the anthology boxes. We could do the printouts and the vouchers. So really, the tier 1 and 2s should go up pretty quickly. The tier 3s will probably be because we have to order the playmats. Those will honestly probably be the last because not only do we order the playmats, but these would all be like one shipment probably. We could fit all these in one box. Whereas for tier 4, we really have to do these in 2 boxes, 2 shipments, no matter what, because the Decipher uncut sheet is going to be in this long tube. So we're probably gonna have one tube shipment and one other shipment. So those might be ones where we split them up. We might do like a first round that goes out for tier 4 donors. And then once we get the play mats, we'll send the play mats and any of the remaining items. So there's some ways to kind of like some of these, obviously the deck boxes and the tubes with the uncut sheets don't mesh well together. We can't get that. We'd have to get these huge tubes. That's just not reasonable. All right, so that's just, again, more detail on timing. We have several FAQs down here. We talked about installment payments. The donations, where do they go towards? People ask this usually a couple times a year, but it's really like everything. Like all these events, anytime we have an in-person event, we have to pay for the space. Prize support's a huge deal. Trophies for folks for different initiatives. Sometimes we do different events where actually we run the event and it might be for charity. We do that usually once or twice a year, and that would be like a net negative in terms of inflows. In terms of strictly inflows, it's a definite positive for a good cause and positive for the event and celebrating the game. But those are the types of things that that the donations program props up and allows us to do. But yeah, that's the biggest things are going to be events, prize support, a lot of the overhead that comes with the organization, running the website, running all the different technology tools that we have. It's really important that we support it this way. And of course, there's other ways that we bring money in terms of like registration fees, prize kits, but the donations program and obviously the PC store is a huge thing as well. But the donor program in the last 4 or 5 years has really enabled the organization to do lots of really cool stuff. Um, Donate after November 30th, still receive the incentives. When I go to like order the playmats, I'll probably order some buffer to allow for late folks because inevitably someone will email me in January 15th and be like, oh, I just saw this. Can I still donate and get the stuff? And if we have enough stock, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm not gonna like cut it off and say no. But once you get past November 30th, that's where we're kind of in. We're not gonna be ordering a whole separate shipment just to appease somebody who donated after the deadline. We'll kind of get in that spot where we'll utilize the stock that we have, but not keep adding on. That's why there is a cutoff because at some point we need to get a good number on like the playmats and go from there. And anything else, I think the playmats might be the one exception this year where we need to place an order. Um, Subject to additions, probably not, but maybe there might be one or two items that we add in, but they won't be, humongous and they're not going to probably move the needle from someone going up a level or not, but they might be just a way to kind of have an extra appreciation for people as they donate. But I'll try to give some info on that if and when we get some. There are ways to donate, not PayPal, like we saw there is debit or credit card, or you can send us a check. Just coordinate with us. There's different ways, or like a Zelle or something like that. We can work it out. I think I mentioned this before, employer match incentive. Um, we don't have it kind of formalized this year. If you have that in your company, like I do actually, um, you know, we will acknowledge that, put it that way. It's just kind of a tricky thing because, not everyone has a company that is willing to enable to do a employer match incentive. So I don't want some folks to feel like they're getting slighted and have the incentive for that be like super duper exclusive. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge when people go through the time and effort to coordinate that and get that extra funds to the PC because their company is willing to do that. So just email me and we'll coordinate from there. All right, so I think that's everything. I probably went longer than I was hoping to, but yeah, again, this is JNAP, this 2025 donations program. We'll have a forum post, we'll have a video, the questionnaire will be up. Don't donate until, or don't fill out the questionnaire. You can donate whenever, like I said, the timeline, I spelled that out a few different times, like January 1, basically through November 30th. The questionnaire is really where the key thing is in terms of like priority and the order in which folks donate and how quickly they are doing it will impact a couple things like the green cups and the hats, and the like. But yeah, anything else, feel free to ask. And yeah, hopefully we have a great turnout this year like we did the past several years. And yeah, thanks again for considering, and definitely thanks for any folks who go through and donate to the program. All right, I will so stop my sharing here and I'll end the recording. But yeah, thanks again. Talk to you guys later.